Welcome, fellow bookworms, to TBR's Den. My name is Whitney, and today we have Once Upon a TBR Honey Jar round 20, which is going to be determining October's TBR. I am really excited for October. I'm excited to have this game back. We haven't played since July, which we played in June, so for July's round, and that round was for July, August, and September. I have read everything from that TBR except one book, and I should get to that in September. And then that's the Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince by J.K. Rowling, and I was originally going to read The Deathly Hallows in September as well. I might roll that one over to October, so that one might go on October's TBR, but I'm not gonna consider it right now because there is a chance I will get to it in September. But I'm so excited to be playing this game again. I debated whether I wanted to kind of do like last time and do it for 2 months because it'll be October and November, and then December I do my 25 days of Bookmas. I already have all the books picked out. They're already over there wrapped, and so basically I unwrap and read a book every day. Some of them obviously take me a little longer than others, so I will continue on, but I start the new book the day I unwrap it as well. So I am really excited for the next few months. And September's TBR is quite large, so there might be some rollovers from that. I do have some books over here. I have 2 for my ABC title challenge, and then one that's gonna work for Buzzword, which is of course put on by Kayla at Books and Lala. The channel will be linked down below. I've been doing that this year, and so I have one that will work. And then I have a stack of books that I just think fit for the season that I would love to get on this TBR. So they're kind of already pulled out, so they're fresh in my mind as I'm choosing my TBR. We do have just 2 to put back in, and they are bookworms. These have been fulfilled, but bookworms always go back in. So we have Book Talk Pick, which will go back in, of course, the honey jar here. And then we also have one which I pulled out way back in November, and that was page number chosen by die. So this, or dice, which I do a die, I just use one, so when I made them, I didn't keep that in mind. So that will go back in as well. But yeah, bookworms always go back in the honey jar. And I think that's all for now. I'll talk about the other books once I'm talking about the books when I pick them. And we'll see if I can get these. The ones for my Genre-a-thon, it won't go on the TBR, but the other 3, hopefully I can get on the TBR, along with the ones I'm really looking forward to for spooky season. So we'll just see how it goes. I'm going to get the game board all set up. I'm so excited to play again. I absolutely love my TBR game, and I've missed it a lot. But it did really work out that I had those few months of not playing it. So anyway, I'm going to get the game board set up, get you guys turned around, and then we'll get started. All right, I think we're ready. We do have 2 rewards. And so this just allows us to forgo a honey jar prompt if we so choose. Again, just a little reminder, we're going to roll for a character. If we roll a 1, that's Christopher Robin, which is a coming of age or middle grade. 2 is Pooh Bear, which is a classic or comfort read. 3 is Piglet, which is an auto by author or reread. 4 is Rabbit, which is a free choice. 5 is Owl, which is a memoir or biography or any type of nonfiction. Tigger is 6, and that's a lighthearted or fast-paced read. 7 is Eeyore, which is a literary or dystopian. And then 8 is King and Roo, which is a manga / graphic novel or a children's. The colors, again, this year, it's more about the honey jar prompt, but I do still try to fulfill the genre if I'm able. So if we land on blue, that's sci-fi. Yellow is historical. Green is fantasy, red is romance, orange is mystery or thriller or horror, purple is any genre, and if we land on a black, we move forward 3 spaces and use that genre for that color, and we also need to pull 2 honey jar prompts if we land on black. So let's go ahead and start and see which character we're gonna get. Shake this up real good and throw. Okay, so we got an 8, which is Kanga and Rue. So it's either needs to be a manga, graphic novel, or a children's for them. Let me get the character all set up, and then we'll get to our other pulls. All right, we got King and Rue here. Let's go ahead and see. Again, this year, other than last round, each color we move 2 squares just to make my TBR a little bit more manageable, except for purple or black. So go ahead and do this one. Okay, we're starting off with an orange, which actually moves us quite far. We go 1, 2, and then this is Christopher or Pooh go to next yellow. Obviously, we're not playing either one of those, so that special square does not count. And so we need a mystery, thriller, or horror that fulfills the prompt of, do this one. Okay. So somebody's booktube TBR. So I gotta go see what other people are reading and choose a book based on that. All right, next. Go this one. Okay, so we have a green, which is a fantasy. The 1 and 2. And so we need a fantasy that fulfills the prompt of, let's do, grab one, do this one. Okay, this is a fun one. So we have Mulan and it's gender swap. All right, let's see what we get next. Go this one. Okay, we get a purple. So we go here, and it's Pooh's Corner. So it doesn't really matter though because purple is any genre anyway, and so it doesn't matter that it's a special square. So we need any genre, but it needs to fulfill the prompt of this one. Okay, and so we have Little Red Riding Hood, and it needs to be a fairy tale retelling. All right, next up. Let's do this one. So that is a red, which is romance. I'm gonna hop here and here, which is cross the bridge, but we hop 2. So we'll go ahead and try to do a romance for this one. And we'll do this one. Oh, nice. I like this. And so this is The Hunchback of Notre Dame, and it's disability rep. All right. Next one. Go here. We get a yellow, which is historical, and that gets us really far. Love that. So we need a historical that fulfills the prompt of, let's do this one. And a historical that's a long book, because this is Rapunzel, and it's got to be greater than 500 pages. All right. Let's see what we can get here. Do this one. Okay, we get another purple. So again, just one hop. And this again is any genre. So I'll do this one. Okay, so we have Snow White, and we need a number 7 rep. Next. So we're getting really close. If we get a red or blue, we're done. And I think everything else we just move 1. So let's go ahead and see. Okay, so we get another purple. Getting lots of purples. So we're going to move right there. So again, any genre just needs to fulfill the prompt of, see this one? Okay, so this is same book as Last Person, which is actually perfect. So I will explain that more in a moment. All right, so if we get a red or a blue, we're done. Orange or black, we're done as well. Orange we can move, anything else has to go off to the side. So let's see what we get. Do this. They're sticking to my fingers. This one. Okay, so yellow we can't move. So put that off to the side. Do this one. Red. Okay, perfect. So red, we go 1, 2, and we made it to the North Pole. So the North Pole doesn't count. It does not need to be a genre because it's special. We made it to the end. So we just need to fulfill the prompt of, let's do this one. Okay, so we have Eeyore, so it's perseverance, just keep going, so something that kind of fits that prompt. And then we just had the one unusable disc, so I have to find something that fits one in some way. I'm going to pick my books and I'll be right back. Alright, I am back. I have my books picked out. I'm really excited for these. There are like 4 books that I do need to read that I wasn't able to get officially on the TBR, and then 4 books that just kind of fit the season and I'm hoping I can get to. So I will talk about those real quick before we go into the actual polls and whatnot. So the first one is the one I chose for buzzword, which is relationship words for October. And for that one, I went with The Soulmate by Sally Hepworth. And so this is one that I am going to be reading for buzzword. And it's obviously not a super high priority, but I have been trying to keep up with the buzzwords this year. It says, prepare yourself for a thrilling, addictive novel about marriage, betrayal, and the secrets that push us to the edge in this latest book from the best-selling author of The Good Sister and The Younger Wife. Picture a lovely cottage on a cliff with sloping lawns, walking paths, and beautiful flowers. It's Gabe's and Pippa Wright's dream home in a sleepy coastal town. But their perfect house hides something sinister. The tall cliffs have become a popular spot for people to end their lives. Over the past several months, Gabe comes to the rescue, literally talking them off the ledge, until one day he doesn't. When Pippa discovers Gabe knew the victim, the questions spiral. Did the victim jump? Was she pushed? And would Gabe, the love of Pippa's life, her soulmate, lie? As the perfect facade of their marriage begins to crack, the deepest and darkest secrets begin to unravel, because sometimes the most convincing lies are the ones we tell ourselves. So that sounds really good, and it will actually go really well with my themed vlog for the month, so I might include that one with the vlog. The other 3 books I'm going to be reading are Daisy Darker by Alice Feeney, and these are all these are all new to me authors as well. So Daisy Darker, let's see. After years of avoiding one another, Daisy Darker's entire family is assembling for Nana's 80th birthday in Nana's crumbling Gothic house on a tiny tidal island. They're finally back together one last time, and when the tide comes in, they will be cut off from the rest of the world for 8 hours. The family arrives, each of them harboring secrets. Then at the stroke of midnight, as a storm rages, Nana is found dead. An hour later, the next family member follows. Trapped on an island where someone is killing them one by one, the Darkers must reckon with their present mystery as well as their past secrets before the tide goes out and all is revealed. So I'm excited for that one. I'm really interested in it. And I have heard mixed things, but I don't know, it sounds good to me. And this is another one I've heard mixed things. The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley. It says, Jess needs a fresh start. She's broken alone and she has just left her job under less than ideal circumstances. Her half-brother Ben didn't sound thrilled when she asked if she could crash with him for a bit, but he didn't say no, and surely everything will look better from Paris. Only when she shows up to find a very nice apartment, could Ben really have afforded this? He's not there. The longer Ben stays missing, the more Jess starts to dig into her brother's situation and the more questions she has. Ben's neighbors are an eclectic bunch and not particularly friendly. Jess may have come to Paris to escape her past, but it's starting to look like it's Ben's future that is in doubt. Everyone's a neighbor, everyone's a suspect, and everyone knows something they're not telling. So there's that one. And then the last one is an author I've been really interested in trying, and that is Stacey Willingham, and this one is All the Dangerous Things. And so this one, it says, 1 year ago, Isabel Drake's life changed forever. Her toddler son, Mason, was taken out of his crib in the middle of the night while she and her husband were asleep in the next room. With little evidence and few leads for the police to chase, the case quickly went cold. However, Isabel cannot rest until Mason is returned to her, literally. Except for the occasional catnap or small blackout where she loses track of time, she hasn't slept in a year. Isabel's entire existence now revolves around finding him, but she knows she can't go on this way forever. In hopes of jarring loose a new witness or buried clue, she agrees to be interviewed by a true crime podcaster, but his interest in Isabel's past makes her nervous. His incessant questioning, paired with her severe insomnia, have brought up uncomfortable memories from her own childhood, making Isabel start to doubt her recollection of the night of Mason's disappearance, as well as second guess who she can trust, including herself. But she is determined to figure out the truth no matter where it leads. That sounds really good. So I'm excited for that one. And then we just have 4 more books that I'm just hoping to get to. Obviously not super high priority. This first one's probably lower on the list, and that is Creep by Jennifer Hillier. I read Wonderland by this author and didn't fully love it, so I found this at a thrift store. All these I found at thrift stores. But I am interested in trying more from the author. I enjoyed the writing enough, but I didn't love the writing, so this one I'm not as excited for. But it says, a popular psychology professor in Seattle, Sheila is an expert in human behavior and a well-liked educator, but nobody knows the secrets she keeps hidden, not even the love of her life, Morris, and she needs it to stay that way, or she could lose everything. But Ethan Wolfe is impossible to resist. The graduate student is brilliant, charming, and seductive as hell. He's also Sheila's teaching assistant and 16 years her junior. Ignoring the risks, they begin an illicit affair that lasts 3 months until Morris asks her to marry him. Determined to get her life back on track, Sheila commits to a future with her fiancé, a man she's not sure she deserves. But Ethan doesn't take rejection well. When the body of one of Sheila's students is discovered floating in Puget Sound, a young woman Ethan was rumored to have dated, it's clear that the graduate student has secrets of his own, and he's not about to let Sheila get away. So a little bit lower. This other one is also lower because I am reading another one of her books, and this is House of Shadows by Darcy Coates. So it says, she'll never escape its shadow. Sophie's world is shattered when disaster bankrupts her family. She is still reeling when she's offered an unexpected solution. Mr. Argenton, a wealthy stranger, has asked for her hand in marriage. Marrying Mr. Argenton will save her family, but it condemns Sophie to a life in Northwood, a vast and unnaturally dark mansion situated hours from civilization. Still, she has no choice but to accept the offer and hope the darkness won't swallow her whole. It's a struggle to adjust to her new position as mistress over the desolate house. Mr. Argenton's relatives are cold, and the manor is more than it seems. Doors slam, and human figures slink through the surrounding forest. A piano plays by itself in the middle of the night. Blood drips and macabre warning down the walls. Day by day, Sophie is inevitably pulled toward the terrifying truth. Northwood's ancient halls are haunted, and the man she married, the man she's coming to love, is hiding an unforgivable truth about his ancestral home and the spirits that now haunt them both. Super excited if I can get to that one. And these ones will also be perfect. Like if I complete my TBR, I'm going to be reading these ones closer to Halloween as well. So this next one I just found at the thrift store, and I hadn't heard of it, and then I saw it on BookTube, and I was like, hey. And actually this one could have worked for one of the prompts. I'm just realizing that now. But yeah, I'm going to try to read The Ones We Burn by Rebecca Mix. This sounds perfect for the season. It says, Monster Butcher Bloodwind. Ranka is tired of death. All she craves now is to rest, remain in Witchick's wild north with the coven that raised her, and hide from the horrors of her past. But when Ranka is named Bloodwind, the next treaty bride to a human prince, her coven sends her south with a single directive: kill him, overthrow the throne, and set her people free. Simple enough for a blood witch. Sorry, Daddy just got home, so the dogs were freaking out. Anyway, where was I before Boo Boo freaked out? But when Ranka is named Bloodwind, the next treaty bride to a human prince, her coven sends her south with a single directive: kill him, overthrow the throne, and set her people free. Simple enough for the blood witch whose magic compels her to kill, except the prince is gentle, kind, and terrified of her. He doesn't want to marry Ranka. He doesn't want to be king at all, and it is his sister, the wickedly smart, infuriating, beautiful Princess Aramis, who seems to be the real threat. When witches start turning up dead, murdered by a mysterious magical plague, the cultists begin burning innocents in the street. Aramis stuns Ranka with an offer. Set their mutual loathing aside and work together to find a cure. In return, she'll help Ranka tame her deadly magic. But Ranka's mission grows complicated when her hatred for Aramis blossoms into something far more treacherous. As the coup draws nearer, Ranka is forced to question everything she thought she knew about her power, her past, and who she is meant to fight for. Soon she will have to choose between the coven that raised her or the princess who sees beyond the monster they shaped Ranka to be. But as the bodies pile up, the monster may be exactly what they need. So I'm super excited for this one. If I finish my TBR, this will probably be one of the first ones out of these that I pick up. And then the last extra one that I am hoping I can get to for the season is Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia. I've wanted to try this author for quite a while now, and I came across this at a thrift store. I was like, sweet. So hopefully this is one I can get to. It says, after receiving a frantic letter from her newlywed cousin, Naomi Taboda heads to High Place, a distant house in the Mexican countryside, unsure what she will find. Naomi is an unlikely rescuer. She's a glamorous debutante, more suited to cocktail parties than amateur sleuthing, but she's also tough, smart, and not afraid. Not of her cousin's new English husband, a stranger who is both menacing and alluring, not of his father, the ancient patriarch who seems fascinated by Naomi, and not even of the house itself, which begins to invade Naomi's dreams. With visions of blood and doom, Naomi's only ally in this inhospitable place is the family's youngest son, but he too may be hiding something dark, for there are many secrets behind the walls of High Place, as Naomi discovers when she begins to unearth stories of violence and madness. So that one, we'll see if I can get to it. Now on to the other books. First up, we do have my Genre-a-thon. So the prompt for October is, of course, spooky season, and it's to read either a paranormal or a slasher horror book. I'm going with Never Whistle at Night, which is edited by Shane Hawk and Theodore C. Van Alst Jr., with an introduction by Stephen Graham Jones. This is an indigenous dark fiction anthology. Anthologies are definitely out of my comfort zone. I don't love them, but I saw this at the bookstore and I was like, I need that. I love indigenous lore and stories and such, so I'm super excited. It says, many indigenous people believe that one should never whistle at night. It can cause evil spirits to appear and even follow you home. These wholly original and shiver-inducing tales introduce readers to ghosts, curses, hauntings, monstrous creatures, complex family legacies, desperate deeds, and chilling acts of revenge. Introduced and contextualized by best-selling author Stephen Graham Jones, these stories are a celebration of indigenous people's survival and imagination, and a glorious reveling in all the things an ill-advised whistle might summon. I saw somebody talking about this on BookTube. I don't remember. I watched so many TBR videos and such. But they said that she heard it was very, very creepy and very scary. So I'm super excited about that one. Then we got Kinga and Ruth, they're Who We Rolled, which is to read either a manga, graphic novel, or children's book. So I decided to go with a manga. I'm going to be reading the next one in the Spy X Family by Tatsuya Endo. Read the first one, absolutely adored it, which I figured it would. But basically, you have Master Spy Twilight, and he gets an assignment where he needs to infiltrate a school. So he gets a daughter and a wife. The daughter is a telepath, and the wife is an assassin. And so Twilight and the wife don't know that about each other, but the daughter Anya knows. And it's just such a cute, like I said, I've only read the first one, loved it like I assumed I would. I have watched a little bit of the anime, loved it as well. So that's what I'm going with for my character pick. Then we pulled an orange, which is thriller, mystery, or horror. And the prompt for this was a bookworm, and it was booktube TBR. And so normally what would happen with this prompt is I would go watch a TBR video and pick a book from that. I decided to do a little different. I don't remember whose channel it was on. The TBR videos are the videos I watch the most of on BookTube, and so it does get a little muddled in my brain, but I know I've seen this book go on somebody's TBR. So I'm going to be reading Darcy Coates' Dead of Winter, and I am really excited for this. Obviously, it's not an October TBR, because when I'm filming this, it's the beginning of September. I do like to film like a month in advance, but I know I've seen this go on somebody's TBR. So it says 8 strangers, 1 killer, nowhere left to run. When Krista joins a tour group heading deep into the Rocky Mountains, she's hopeful this will be her chance to put the ghosts of her past to rest. But when a bitterly cold snowstorm sweeps the region, the small group is forced to take shelter in an abandoned hunting cabin. Despite the uncomfortably claustrophobic quarters and rapidly dropping temperature, Krista believes they'll be safe as they wait out the storm. She couldn't be more wrong. Deep in the night, their tour guide goes missing, only to be discovered the following morning, his severed head impaled on a tree outside the cabin. Terrified and completely isolated by the storm, Krista finds herself trapped with 8 total strangers. One of them kills for sport, and they're far from finished. As the storm grows more dangerous and the number of survivors dwindles one by one, Krista must decide whom she can trust before this frozen mountain becomes her tomb. I'm excited. I've only read one Darcy Coates book, and I really enjoyed it, so I'm excited to try more. Then we got a green, which is fantasy, and for this one we got Mulan, which was gender swap. And so for this one, I am going to be reading We Hunt the Flame by Hafsah Faizal. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. And it says, Zafira is the hunter disguising herself as a man when she braves the cursed forest of the Ars to feed her people. Nasir is the Prince of Death, assassinating those foolish enough to defy his autocratic father, the Sultan. If Zafira is exposed as a girl, all of her achievements will be rejected. If Nasir displays his compassion, his father will punish him in the most brutal of ways. Both Zafira and Nasir are legends in the kingdom of Arawaya, but neither wants to be. War is brewing, and the Ars sweeps closer with each passing day, engulfing the land in shadow, while Zafira embarks on a quest to uncover a lost artifact that can restore magic to her suffering world and stop the Ars. Nazir is sent by the Sultan on a similar mission, retrieve the artifact and kill the hunter, but an ancient evil stirs as their journey unfolds, and the prize they seek may pose a greater threat than either can imagine. Set in a richly detailed world inspired by ancient Arabia, We Hunt the Flame is a gripping debut of discovery, conquering fear, and taking identity into your own hands. Then, let's see here. We got a purple, which is any genre. And for this, we got Little Red Riding Hood, which is a fairy tale retelling. And I just read the first one of this series in August, so it doesn't want to refocus for some reason, but hopefully it will soon. But I'm going to read the second one in the Land of Stories, which this is The Enchantress Returns by Chris Colfer. So it says, enter the land of stories where fairy tales are real. The evil enchantress who cursed Sleeping Beauty is back with a vengeance. Can Alex and Connor Bailey save the fairy tale world from the greatest threat it's ever faced? And so basically you have these two twins, and they go through a portal into the land of stories where fairy tales are real. And so in the first book, they're kind of on the scavenger hunt trying to figure out how to get back home. And they meet all kinds of fairy tale characters throughout the story. So I didn't love the first one. I didn't think the writing was the greatest, but I did enjoy the story itself. And so I'm hoping I like this one a little bit better. There's that. Then let's see here. We got a red. So excited about that. That's romance. And we got the Hunchback of Notre Dame and its disability rep. And so I went and looked to see what romances, it just really not wanting to refocus today, which romance had a disability rep. Let's see if it wants to focus. And I'm going to go with Archer's Voice by Mia Sherdan. I thought about getting out on a limb by, I forget her name. I'll insert a picture here, of course. I can't remember. Anyway, I thought about getting that one, and I might still, but I already have this one, and so I'm going to go with it. And this one, he's mute, so that's why. And it says, I wanted to lose myself in the small town of Pelion, Maine, to forget everything I had left behind, the sound of rain, the blood, the coldness of a gun against my skin. For 6 months, each breath has been a reminder that I survived and my dad didn't. I'm almost safe again, but the moment I meet Archer Hale, my entire world tilts on its axis and never rights itself again. Till I trespass into his strange, silent, and isolated world, Archer communicates with no one. Yet in his whiskey-colored eyes, something intangible happens between us. There's so much more to him than just his beauty, his presence, or the way his hands communicate with me, on me. But this town is mired in secrets and betrayals, and Archer is the explosive center of it all. So much passion and so much hurt, but it's in Archer's silence that we might just find what we need to heal and to live. So that's been on my TBR for quite a while, and it's one I think I'm just really going to enjoy, so I've always been kind of hesitant to pick it up. But October is the month. Then we got Yellow, which is historical, and we got Rapunzel, which is a long book, greater than 500 pages. And I went way overboard. I went with a 900-page book that has been on my TBR before, but I just think it's perfect for the season, and I really do want to read it. And I'm done with all my other big books. I finally completed The Odyssey. I read a 900-page book in August, so like everything else I have is shorter, so I can put on another chunky book. I'm going to go with The Historian by Elizabeth Kostova. And it says, breathtakingly suspenseful and beautifully written, The Historian is the story of a young woman plunged into a labyrinth where the secrets of her family's past connect to inconceivable evil, the dark reign of Vlad the Impaler, and a time-defying pact that may have kept his awful work alive through the ages. The search for the truth becomes an adventure of monumental proportions, taking us from monasteries and dusty libraries to the capital of Eastern Europe, in a feat of storytelling so rich, so hypnotic, so exciting that it has enthralled readers around the world. So October is the month. I don't know if I'll finish it in October, but I'm definitely going to start it, and I think I'll really enjoy it. Then we got another purple, so any genre, and we got Snow White, the number 7 rep, which I'm excited for that one. And so this one was hard, and I went through all my options, and only one book really worked for this. So I'm going to be reading One by One by Ruth Ware. It ends on page 417. Where is it? Can I get to? Yeah. So 417 there. And so it ends in the number 7, so I'm going to go with it. It says, evoking the snowy seclusion of in a dark, dark woods, the luxe environs of the woman in cabin 10, and the cutting-edge technology of the turn of the key, this highly anticipated 6th novel is Ruth Ware at the top of her game. Getting snowed in at a luxurious rustic ski chalet high in the French Alps doesn't sound like the worst problem in the world, especially when there is a breathtaking vista, a full-service chef and housekeeper, cozy fire to keep you warm, and others to keep you company, unless that company happens to be 8 co-workers, each with something to gain, something to lose, and something to hide. The storm brewing inside the chalet is no match for the one outside. However, a devastating avalanche soon leaves the group, cut off from all access to the outside world. Even worse, someone didn't make it back from the slopes when the avalanche hit. As each hour passes without any sign of rescue, panic mounts and the chalet grows colder, and the group dwindles further one by one. So, I will be reading that as well. Silly baby. Okay, and then we got another purple, and this one is a fun one. It's a bookworm, and it's the same book as Last Person. So this is inspired by the trend where YouTubers go into fast food lines and order the same order as the last person. I can't do that because I have a lot of allergies and such. And so I wanted to make a bookish version. So basically I'm going to go into Barnes & Noble, which I was already planning on doing for my birthday, so it works out well. And I'm just going to ask them the last book they sold. Since it's any genre, it can just literally be the last book they sold. And I'm going to get that book. I am going to veto it if it's like something I'm really not interested in, or like a nonfiction specialty book or anything like that. But any fiction book that I have an interest in, that's what I'm going to go with. So that will be exciting. And so if you want to know what I end up with, definitely check back when I do my wrap up the beginning of November. So then we got a yellow, which is of course historical, but we couldn't move, so that just went off to the side. And then lastly we got a red, but it landed us on the North Pole, which means it can be any genre because the North Pole is considered a special square. And for this one we got Eeyore, which was Perseverance, Just Keep Going. And so for Eeyore, I decided to go with my next ABC author challenge. My phone really is just not focusing today, but we're going to be reading What Elephants Know by Eric Dinerstein. And so this is, like I said, I'm doing the ABC title challenge, and so I was able to get both the books for that on the TBR. So this is obviously for my W title, and this should be a nice, easy read. But it says, abandoned in the jungle of the Nepalese borderlands, 2-year-old Nandu is found living under the protective watch of a pack of wild dogs. From his mysterious beginnings, fate delivers him to the king's elephant stable, where he is raised by unlikely parents. The wise head of the stable, Suba Sahib, and Devi Kali, a fierce and affectionate female elephant. When the king's government threatens to close the stable, Nandu, now 12, searches for a way to save his family and community. A risky plan could be the answer, but to succeed, they'll need a great tusker. The future is in Nandu's hands as he sets out to find a bull elephant and bring him back to the borderlands. So, he's trying to save his family, and he goes on this adventure to find this bull elephant, and I think that definitely takes perseverance. So that's why I made it work for that one. And then lastly, for the one unusable disc that we had, I'm going to be going with Velva Jean Learns to Drive by Jennifer Niven, and this one is the first in a series, so it works for the number 1 rep. And it says, one Sunday when she's 10 years old, Velva Jean Hart is saved. But being saved isn't anything like Velva Jean expected, and life soon brings devastating changes. Her father disappears on one of his adventures, and her loving mother becomes gravely ill. Before her mother dies, she urges Velva Jean to live out there in the great wide world. The only world Velva Jean knows is her home in the gold mining and moonshining mountains of the Appalachia. Her secret dream is to become a big-time singer in Nashville, till she falls in love with Harley Bright, a handsome, truant-turned-revival preacher. As their tumultuous love story unfolds, Velva Jean struggles to find happiness. Will it be as the demure wife Harley wants her to be? Beautifully written, this is an unforgettable story about love, spirit, and finding the courage to follow one's dreams. So, I'm excited to read this. Another one I found at the thrift store, which my ABC title challenge does have that thrifting element, and I don't want to necessarily pick books that I know I'm interested in and I would have picked up regardless. It's books that I come across at the thrift store and I probably wouldn't have picked up or read otherwise. So that is it for my TBR. I would love to know if you've read any of these books, if you're interested in any of these books, or a book you're excited to read that's coming up for you. I would love to know that down in the comments below. If you're not feeling chatty and you just want to help support the channel and let me know you are here, you can always leave a rabbit or any type of animal emoji. I'm gonna go ahead and leave you guys here. Happy reading, everyone. Bye.